everybody. My name is Crystal. It is Saturday morning, and I got woken up by my cat meowing. Um, so, um, Today it looks wet again. It looks like it's going to rain and be cold outside. Another rainy day by the look of it. I've got nothing planned for today. No, just keeping warm and safe is all I do at the moment until it gets warmer, and then probably venture out a bit more. But I just feel cold, damp, wet, and it's just the day looks miserable, to be fair. Alexa, good morning.
Responsible for film scores such as Star Wars, Superman, Jurassic Park, and Harry Potter. And my favourite, Jaws.
So Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. Today in 1879, Scottish-Canadian engineer Sandford Fleming first proposed dividing the world into 24 time zones, making him the father of worldwide standard time. If only he'd invented a cure for jet lag too.
Alexa, what's the time, please? Alexa, what's the time?
It's 8:28 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today? Alexa, the date. Oh my goodness, I've got a sore throat. Alexa, what's the date today?
It's Saturday the 8th of February.
Alexa, what's the weather outlook?
Right now in Rochester, it's 4 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. Today's forecast has showers, with a high of 7 degrees and a low of 2 degrees.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
What do you get when you cross a giraffe with a hedgehog? A 6-foot toothbrush.
And Alexa, who was born on this day? Alexa, who was born on this day?
Celebrities born on the 8th of February include John Williams, James Dean, Mary Steenburgen, Jadipa Larvett, and Kimbo Slice.
Right, so I've just made a cup of ginger tea. Good morning, everybody. It's raining. It's been raining on and off here in Rochester. It's quite cold outside as well. Yesterday I got hailstones on me. Let's see what happens today. So I've just made my tea. Yeah, good morning. Last night I just took Max for a walk around the block. There's no point going on the field when it's like raining and it's muddy and there's no one on there. You slip over. That's it. So I just walked around the block. I don't know. The world to me now is completely different to when the Queen was ruling the country. It just feels to me like it's really unsafe, more unsafe than it ever has been. Because to be fair, when I was a kid, obviously things were happening to me under the Queen's rule. I was being abused by my father. That stopped now because he's dead. But things were still going on when the Queen ruled the country. It just seems different, I think, because of social media highlighting everything. It's in your face all the time when you turn on your phone, your tablet, and we are stuck to our phones. Of all different ages, you see older people on their phones. We're all stuck to our phones now, so crime's highlighted even more. And government has been bad. I mean, look at Margaret Thatcher, who introduced the poll tax, as it was, the council tax, as we now call it. So it's always been like it. Always. It's just the cost of living has skyrocketed. People cannot afford to eat and heat their homes, and the public's angry, which I think they've every right to be, especially people that work really, really hard for hardly anything and have nothing left at the end of the day. I mean, it's criminal. So people struggle. We're struggling to survive just to put food in our mouth and heat our homes. It's always been this way since time began. The rich and the poor. Robin Hood robbed the rich to give to the poor. It's always been this way. But it gets worse. Last night I came back from a walk. There was a delivery guy hovering about with a delivery bag, and I'd eaten yesterday. I'd had a pizza myself. I had on there was the American take on the Prince Andrew scandal with Jeffrey Epstein, and I was listening to that, and it was breaking down Prince Andrew's speech when he was talking to that presenter, and one of the things that was mentioned, that he was supposed to be in a place with his daughter, like Pizza Express. So it was all about pizzas yesterday. You know, people having deliveries to the flats, pizza deliveries everywhere, right? I mean, Prince Andrew does an interview. It's obviously, you can watch it on YouTube, the scandal with Jeffrey Epstein and Andrew being accused of sleeping with this girl that he denied even knowing. So I was listening to that at lunchtime. If I sit in my flat and I don't listen to anything at all, I don't speak, I don't call my mum, I just sit here in complete silence, hardly anything happens outside at all. As soon as I've got a radio on, I listen to some music, whatever I'm doing. If I'm exercising in my flat in the summer, you'll get the Keep Fit guys imitating the moves I've been doing inside my flat, and it freaks you out and it's weird. So last night, put on the television. It drowns irritating noises out, even if you don't want to watch it, and it you know, it feels like company as well. If you've got the people are talking, you see people. I mean, I'm not going to sit in my flat in complete silence. No one's controlling and manipulating me like that. What a life it would be if you just sat in your flat with nothing on the telly, no radio, you just sat there. You're being manipulated, you're being controlled, and that's just not right. So I force myself to put something on, even when it freaks me out what they're doing. And it's not madness. It's not madness at all. I've had people, especially in my other flat, tell me, is that a coincidence? That's just weird. We've just talked about that in here. So you know what I mean? It's not just me, and it's not madness, and they can't say that anymore. Because they do that to everybody. Everybody that's targeted is mad, is crazy, it's all in their head. And it's not. It can be proven. It happened in Gloucestershire as well. And there was something really, really weird when I picked up the phone. The phone just rang, and someone said on the end of it, "I've just heard everything you've said." He said the phone called me back. I went, "What?" He went, I've heard everything you've said. I went, well, how can the phone call you? That really scared me. Because I had my kids staying over. That scared me. To think that someone could listen in to private conversations in your flat with your children in it. Like I said last night, I just make tea. I try to have a bit of fun by myself, whether it's dancing and jigging about to a song in my flat, singing a song, doing a bit of karaoke, or just being me. But this is crazy. You can't expect somebody to sit in their flat and not speak, not dance, not do anything. That's awful torture. That's really awful torture. That's crazy. That's insane. That's being a bit sadistic. Isolating someone so much and frightening them that they can't listen to a radio, watch the telly, or even speak. Because you feel like you're being, I'm not saying I am, feel like you're being watched. They make you feel like you're being watched, and they make you feel that like they are snooping on your personal phone conversations. You have to fight it. It can take a dramatic toll on your mental health. They take the piss out of what you're wearing. I've told you that. They imitate. But if they're wearing my clothing, they must enjoy wearing it. So you know what I mean. If they want to walk around in my clothes or fake copies of my clothing, go ahead. You look ridiculous. It looks good on me, but not on you. Like I said, I came home. I got rained on about 3 times yesterday. It was cold, wet, damp, feeling like shit. Puts the telly on, and later on in the evening they've got the Hunchback of Notre Dame on the telly. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's a really sad story. I mean, it was someone in France wrote it. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the guy in the bell tower has a facial disfigurement. Today we would call it a facial disfigurement. Back in the day, he hid away because people were calling him a monster, when all he had was a facial disfigurement, and he hid away in the bell tower. And it's all about the Hunchback of Notre Dame and Esmeralda. It's a sad story, but that was chosen to be put on Talking Pictures television last night, Friday evening. Right? All he had was a facial disfigurement, but he was cast out, made fun of, and he hid in the bell tower. And it was a bloke. It wasn't Esmeralda was the pretty gypsy woman that he helped and saved from the noose, being hung as a witch. That is a sad story because they both die in the end. Esmeralda is hung, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame starves to death because he's pining for Esmeralda. Very sad story, but there you go. Facial disfigurements back in the day cast you out of society. People didn't understand it, and you had to hide. But I don't think we've improved much in 2025. Where bullying goes on just if you've got a small scar on your face. So I watched that, and was you saw the upper class of the day taking the piss out of the really attractive gypsy girl, saying that she stank and she smelt. And she to a young, beautiful woman, Esmeralda the gypsy was just a smelly gypsy woman. And they always watching the hanging, the upper class and the poor calling Esmeralda a witch and saying she smelt. So we haven't really improved from years and years and years ago. If you've got a facial disfigurement, you're hideous and ugly. If you're a pretty girl, but you're from a poor background, you're stinky. So that's needless to say, I like the story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but it didn't really make me feel any better than I was feeling last night. Not really. So everything I watch, everything I listen to, it feels like somebody is watching with me in my own home, which feels creepy. Alexa, BBC News.
The next 3 Israeli hostages to be released by Hamas under the terms of the Gaza ceasefire deal are due to be freed shortly. More than 180 Palestinian prisoners are set to be released in return. The details of this latest exchange were confirmed yesterday. Michael Levy is the brother of Or Levy, one of the hostages on this list.
I can't even start to describe the emotions, the excitement, how happy we are that it's finally close to be over. And yeah, now we are waiting to hug him.
A judge in Washington has temporarily blocked an attempt by President Trump to drastically reduce the number of people working for the US Agency for International Development, the world's largest single aid body. Thousands of employees were expecting to be placed on paid leave last night. The judge has placed a pause on Mr. Trump's plans for 1 week. Here's our North America correspondent Peter Bowes.
Having frozen its funding of foreign aid, the Trump administration had begun implementing a plan to slash USAID's global workforce from about 10,000 down to a few hundred employees. But in an 11th-hour intervention, Judge Carl Nichols, who was appointed by Donald Trump in his first term as president, said he would issue a temporary restraining order. He was responding to a lawsuit filed by unions, which argues the president's plan is unconstitutional and that only Congress can legally dismantle the agency.
Donald Trump has said he's revoked his predecessor's security clearance, a move that ends Joe Biden's access to daily classified intelligence briefings. In a post online, Mr. Trump said, "Joe, you're fired," a reference to his catchphrase when he hosted the American version of the reality television show The Apprentice. The families of 3 people who were killed by a man diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia in Nottingham in 2023 say they'll meet the Prime Minister at Downing Street on Wednesday to call for a statutory public inquiry into what happened. A review into the care that Valdo Calacane received from the NHS before he carried out the attacks concluded there'd been a catalogue of failings. Simon Jones reports.
More than 18 months after Ian Coates, Barnaby Webber and Grace O'Malley Kumar were stabbed to death, their families say they are still fighting for answers. An NHS review published this week found that the risk posed by Valdo Calacane had not been fully understood or managed. His victims' families will tell Sir Keir Starmer a public inquiry should be able to compel the doctors who treated him, as well as the police officers who had contact with him, to give evidence. The government said the Prime Minister was committed to an inquiry led by a judge, but its precise scope had yet to be finalised.
Rescue teams in the US state of Alaska searching for a missing plane say they found wreckage on sea ice. All 10 people on board the aircraft are believed to have died. The small commuter plane had disappeared on Thursday. A senior MP has criticised some energy suppliers following a BBC investigation into what's known as backbilling. The practice involves utility companies sending new bills for energy that customers used more than a year before. It was banned by the regulator Ofgem 7 years ago. Bill Esterson, who chairs the Commons Energy Committee, said the practice shouldn't still be happening.
The energy companies are being outrageous, and the rules are very straightforward. Nobody should be in any doubt. They cannot bill customers for anything more than 12 months old, and yet they are. And at the same time, they say they abide by the rules, they accept the rules, and they're clearly not.
Energy UK, which speaks for suppliers, says issues with back billing make up only a small proportion of overall complaints, and anyone who thinks they might be affected should contact their energy provider. A family from Norfolk whose dog was stolen from their garden have been reunited with their pet 7 years later. Daisy the Labrador was snatched from her home at Old Buckenham in 2017. She was finally found by an RSPCA inspector more than 200 miles away in Somerset and identified by her microchip. Her owner, Rita Potter, says she'd kept a photograph of Daisy on her mantelpiece and never given up hope of finding her.
And now, global news from the BBC World Service. BBC News with Chris Barrow. A US judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking the Trump administration from placing more than 2,000 employees at USAID on administrative leave. He was responding to a lawsuit filed by unions trying to prevent the agency from being dismantled. The staff must be retained until at least the 14th of February. American aid to South Africa is being frozen in a deepening row over a land expropriation law. President Trump alleged the new law allows the seizure of land from white farmers without compensation.
Stop. Alexa, feedback.
Sure, tell me what's on your mind.
Alexa, thank you for the feedback.
Thanks for the feedback.
So when I went round my mum's the other day, Alexa, her Alexa is different to mine, and my mum went, "Thank you for the feedback, Alexa," and Alexa sang something completely different to my Alexa. It's just weird. Yeah, my mum, I talked to Alexa in my videos, and when I went round to my mum, she was mimicking how I talk to Alexa on my videos. It doesn't annoy me anymore. It used to, but you know, if people want to copy me, it's fine by me. It just makes me smile. See you later.